Sitting in the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old style beers out at the game. Let's go Cubbies, Son Ranto, Son Ranto, Son Ranto and the lovable losers. Son Ranto, Son Ranto, Son Ranto and the lovable losers. Son Ranto.
Son Ranto.
Hey, welcome to the Son Ranto Show, brought to you by the Bleacher Bunch Productions on the Fans First Network. Great shows like Cup of Cubby Blue, Baseball Rabbit Hole, and Cubs PS Plus podcast.
Hey, I know the guy who does that one.
Yeah, I am Michael Cotton, and you just heard Infield Fly Girl, and doing the Son Ranto call today is Cubs PS Plus, Mike Waller. How's it going, guys?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Yep. Oh, Mike, for some reason, your mic has shut off. Like it's
Can't hear you, bro.
anything.
Can't hear me. Can't hear.
Oh, there you go. You got to get up on it.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Okay.
I moved it a little bit back.
So, all right. So this show is brought to you by our 109 paid Patreon supporters, plus our super duper ranters like Blake Beard's tickets. Go to Twitter at Blake Beard. He has great seats, and there's still some time to get some games in at Wrigley Field. And if you're looking to sit behind home plate and some great seats, hit Blake Beard up and get his tickets. Also, Rogue Wave Creative and Mike Waller and the Cubs PS Plus podcast. Mike Waller has some really good tickets as well. You may be able to reach out to him. And then, of course, our Patreon Prize of the Month sponsors, Matt Kammer's Permanent Paintings, which we have up here all over behind us, and in the clutch t-shirts. Okay, so it is painfully obvious that our leader here, Daniel T. Rocket, is not with us. And it is our sad duty to bring to you, for the first time in 12 seasons, a Son Ranto show that will not feature Danny Rocket. And that's because Danny's mother, Marilyn Robbins, is doing very poorly. She has moved into hospice care, and now Danny is with her, spending time with her in her final days or hours or however long that might be. A lot of us in our community, the Ranters community, have reached out and given him condolences and a lot of support. He absolutely appreciates it. And I know over the years, we've lost Ranters. Dan Nielsen is gone, and, we celebrate his life once a year at Wrigley. And, Bill Sugas's mother, I guess this is probably a bad idea to start trying to remember everybody's parents who've died, because so many have done it. And it's hard. It is a very hard time for somebody. Danny just posted, I can't listen with sound right now, but I love you all. This is it. It's always.
And we love you, Danny. And it's heartbreaking to sit here and be on the show and think of our dear friend who's in a place of pain as his beloved, absolutely wonderful mother is nearing the end of her life. It's been a big, long life and a full one, and she is so, so beloved. And she, she's going to leave a big hole in Danny's heart. And I hope that I know that this community has been a source of strength for a lot of people. I know you guys have been a really big strength for me going through some really hard times in my life. And I think the best thing that we can do, just sort of, us here on the show, our Patreon people who hang out with us in the Discord, and the entire Ranter community. I know most of Cubs Twitter is going to be there, just kind of as a supportive community, just somebody, like a shoulder, because it's really hard to lose somebody that you love. And we're all there at some point. If we're lucky, the unfortunate thing is with great love, eventually, someday that time runs out. And having somebody or a lot of somebodies there as a source of strength for a friend to lean on is a sacred duty. And I know that you guys are going to step up to that as well.
Yeah, I will tell you, I've been doing this show with Danny for 10 years myself. It's the first time that Danny's ever asked for us to go on without him. And, otherwise we'd, normally not do it, because this is, as much as he complains about it, this is the thing that he loves doing, is talking Cubs and talking with all of you and seeing your comments. And that was one of the things that he actually shared with his mother. A lot of us have actually had the opportunity to meet her in real life, and if not, secondarily, because Danny sends pictures. He takes his mother to the games. He take pictures with her and his family. And then, there they are. Those are his two sisters and three sisters now, I guess. Sister-in-law, another sister. Yeah. And then his mother there in the back. But, yeah, great picture of them with the bucket hats. He always said that
smile she has.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
I never got to.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I never got to meet his mom, but we were all at the games this weekend. I got to take in 2 games with Danny this weekend, which was really cool. And just the way he talks about his mom, I know she's a recurring character on the show, comes up often, and he just lights up when he talks about her. So it shows how close they are and what a great relationship they have and how important all that is to him.
Yeah.
Danny wanted me to share with you guys. He messaged before the show, and a really, really special thing that happened a couple of seasons ago is, Danny's mom, she was a nun. He'll tell you the story. She was a nun. She was a big part of the Catholic Church for a long time, and she played the organ. And she had the opportunity to play the organ at Wrigley Field. And Danny wanted me to go ahead and share that with you guys again. So here she is.
Oh, that was awesome. Like, one of those things that, honestly, that the community that Danny has built up around him, this rancher community that extends into the organ room at Wrigley, and he was able to get his mother in there, and so that she could play at Wrigley for a moment, which, I mean, really, it was just, it's so cool. And, to be able to share his love of the Cubs with his mother's, because she's a huge Cubs fan too. The biggest thing that for her right now is the same thing with us. Who are these guys out on the field? She just wants better players that we actually can pick out and know. And, so has always been a true rancher at heart. And, so this episode, everything is, it's for Danny and a tribute to his mother. And, he says he's bawling his eyes out, and I can understand. He said that he's been that way a lot, over the last few days. So here's to you, Mama Robbins, Danny, and everyone else out there. Think about your parents and your kids and all of that, because we only get one go round, and if you're lucky, you make it work as well as Danny and his mother did. So cheers.
Sláinte.
Cheers.
So, all right, there's no way to make any sort of a transition out of that. It's so hard, but we actually do have a fairly good one in that Mike Waller, you'll see over his left shoulder, and if you're listening, you won't see this, but is his son, Andrew. So, keeping with the theme, let's talk to one of the Ranters' sons who got the opportunity to go to Wrigley Field for 3 games and watch the Blue Jays. How are you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing good. It was a lot of fun to be out there over the weekend.
Great. And your dad told me you were 7-1 prior to this weekend. So what you're now 9-2?
Yeah, I started 7-1 and ended 9-2.
Oh man, if the Cubs could go 9-2, we would be the happiest podcast ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just need to keep going to the games. That's sorry, Mike. You gotta keep taking them.
I'm in.
Rule.
Yeah.
So what was the highlight?
Some of the highlights were, I got a ball signed by Patrick Wisdom.
What?
Cotton, I think you were the one that told him to go down there for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was at one of these games sitting with them. It was the Saturday rain delay game.
Yeah, it was the second rain delay.
Yeah, that second rain delay was not very rainy at all. We didn't know why, and so Patrick Wisdom actually popped up. Him and I think David Bodie was there too. He's not as I can't really tell him as well, but they were just sitting up out of the dugout, and I was like, Andrew, this is the nobody's around him. This is perfect opportunity to go down there, and So Andrew, tell your story about what it was like to meet Patrick Wisdom, get your ball signed.
So I went down there and I got his attention and I asked him if he could sign my ball. And he just shook his head. He didn't even say anything. I started walking away. And then he calls me back and tells me he was just kidding.
Except Patrick Wisdom.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
then when he got the ball, he asked me who had already signed it because earlier that day I went to a signing thing with a former Cubs player, Bill Madlock. And
Nice.
I told him who it was, and he had no idea who it was.
Bless him.
That's, and that's one of those things that made me laugh because, we're all kids watching a game, no matter how old we are. And it's things like that make you go, oh yeah, you are way too young to remember who Bill Madlock was.
Yeah,
I only remember him as a pirate.
Yeah.
I just had to look him up because it's definitely before I started watching. I really got into baseball in like 1998, right? So Bill Madlock was a Cub from 74 to 76. So that's like when my dad was watching baseball then.
That was me born to 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mike, when you're talking, you're good right where you're at.
Okay.
When you move up, you get a little blown out. Sorry, a little behind the scenes there. Sorry, guys.
Not in the usual setup here.
What was hilarious too is that I went home that night. I get home at like 1 a.m. and I'm in the bathroom and I get on my phone and I'm starting to look through and Waller posts a picture of Bill Madlock. And what was that, the Super 70s?
It was Buckner.
Oh, was that Buckner? Okay.
Buckner. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget the exact caption on it, but basically it was Super 70s Sports, which is a great Twitter follow. They have all kinds of hilarious memes, but had a picture of Buckner with his giant bushy eyebrows and some sort of crazy neckbeard thing going down, and basically saying that his mustache was so epic he kept 2 spares on his forehead and one on his neck.
And I was literally like, I'm in there trying to be as quiet as I can because my wife's sleeping. She got to work the next day. I busted out laughing out loud in the middle of like a super quiet house. It was it was hilarious. But so all right, let's get back to Andrew here a little bit. So Andrew, you got to meet Bill Madlock.
Yeah.
Sort of. I'm sure you didn't have too much of a conversation with him because that's way before your time.
Yeah.
So all right, so then you got that. I don't know. Run through the games here a little bit because you got to go to Friday.
I went to Friday. I saw all of the home runs that were hit. Bunch of them.
There were
Yeah.
4, I think.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, that was.
On the next day was the rainy day. Not much happened there, but
You saw the way the Cubs started the game was big.
oh yeah, Ian Happ led off with a lead off home run, which was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, first pitch home run because as we've talked about a little bit, I kind of feel like Ian Happ doesn't really want to be the leadoff guy, and so he swings at that first pitch as kind of a,
This is why you shouldn't do this.
yeah, like, but he crushed it, and they're up one pitch, they're up 1-0, which is great. But then Danny and I were actually talking about it, and he's actually talked to David Justice about leading off, and he said that David Justice actually said a lot of times that's the best pitch you're going to get because no pitcher really wants to start a game with a ball. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of guess he's going to go fastball right down the middle just to get something over because so many people just take that first pitch, so.
Well, Hap had a couple hits today in the first pitch, and they were talking on the broadcast. I guess out of his last 7 times where he's hit the first pitch, he's 5 out of 7 with like 3 doubles and 2 homers.
He is hitting the ball very hard when he hits it. A lot of them are going, for outs, but
Right.
Keep crushing the ball and good things are going to happen, right?
I think it's kind of like that being ahead in the count. I think basically you probably sit there, you sit on one pitch. I know what I want. I want it in this spot, and if he gets it, then go. And you're right, that's a big get me over spot to get that first strike and get ahead.
Yeah. So, So Andrew, your dad said that you guys got to get there early. You walked through kind of the Cubs Hall of Fame. When's the last time you were actually at Wrigley?
I was at Wrigley, last year?
Last year, yeah.
Last year, my brother was going to Chicago for some college visits, and we went to one Cubs game against the Giants that we won.
Remember
Oh, that's cool.
No.
That was the Justin Steele game where he went 8 innings and dominated the Giants when they swept. We saw the first game of the series. It was on Labor Day, and that was
Yeah. That was the last good Justin Steele start, right?
It wasn't the last good one, but it was about the last win he had till today.
Right. Yeah. Well, but I feel like he kind of fell off right after that because
for last year, yeah, that was
last year.
Last year, yes.
He had hit the sort of the limit there, but and on Saturday, Andrew, you almost got to see Justin Steele again, except for the rain.
Yeah. Yeah. Too bad the rain delays made him have to come out of the game.
Yeah. And then on Sunday, second inning, more rain. What were you thinking? Did you think Shota was going to get you're going to see another short start?
I wasn't really thinking about that. I was just kind of annoyed by the rain.
Yeah. I think we all were.
I was hoping for no big rain delay because we had a flight out that night, and we had a couple hours buffer, so we had some time. But if we caught a big rain delay, we wouldn't have been able to stay for the end of that one, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that game on Saturday went until we didn't walk out of the ballpark until after 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have been hightailing it to the airport if it was Saturday.
Yeah.
What did we do on Saturday or Sunday before the game?
Before the game, we did a couple things. First we got the Harry Potter Cubs hats, which were really cool.
And then I don't. Was that a giveaway, like a special ticket giveaway?
Yeah, it was a giveaway.
It was one of the special ticket giveaways.
What did they look like?
Yeah,
I don't think I saw those.
Well, they were pretty much. It had the colors of the houses. and then
Oh,
there
okay.
were 4 different hats. So there would be one with Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin, and it would like say the name and then have their emblem on it, and then they
Which
would
one
have
did you
like the
get?
Cubs logo on the side. I did Hufflepuff because I thought it looked the best with the black and
Oh,
yellow.
you
Soft
actually
color.
got to choose. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
trust
they
me,
didn't
I know
guarantee, but we
Hufflepuff.
got there early, and there were plenty of everything.
Oh, okay, cool. Mike, you got one too. What'd you grab?
Oh no, I didn't. I just had the one special ticket. But
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah,
The
and-
Hufflepuff, yellow
Okay,
and black.
so what's
Badgers.
everybody's house since we're gonna be there?
Well, I'm actually a Gryffindor, but I just thought
Right
the
on.
Hufflepuff colors looked the best.
I'm pretty
Fair.
sure actually I'm a Hufflepuff.
I'm a Ravenclaw, which should surprise nobody.
Nice.
No.
Ravenclaw makes sense. I am a Gryffindor. My boys, I have a Hufflepuff and a Slytherin. My oldest is a Slytherin.
Right on.
So, yeah.
That's nice. I could see, like, I don't know. I'm just not ambitious enough to be a Slytherin. My son got sorted on his 11th birthday, and I thought he'd be a Hufflepuff, but turns out he is a Gryffindor.
Wow.
Nice.
Very cool.
So, you know what? That brings us kind of into. So, that weekend was the players' weekend, right? So, this is.
Not that you'd notice.
Yeah, they would play a game. Who'd the Yankees play? Yankees played somebody at Cooperstown for the Little League World Series, sort of like
Yeah, that's
Little
right. I forget
League
who they were
game.
playing. I just
And I
have
can't-
judged that big stupid controversy.
Yeah. Everything's a controversy anymore. But they used to do this where they would have a cool, different jersey, and they would have their nickname on the back of it.
I figured since we have Andrew here, we could make it a little game. Andrew, I am going to show you some old Players Weekend jerseys. Some of the pictures will have the player there, some of them won't. All of the jerseys are going to be former Cubs. Let's see if you can guess who they are. And we'll make it pretty easy to start. Let's go ahead with this one. Who's that? This one is it's a jersey. It says KB on it. The number is 17.
Is it Chris Bryant?
That is Chris Bryant. Good job. All right. Number 2, you saw this guy. This is a number 13, and it says boat.
David Bodie?
It is
Yep.
David Bodie. 2
I
for
was going
2.
to say he's currently on the team. He was right next to Patrick Wisdom, but you smartly didn't ask for his autograph.
So for number 3, let's mix it up a little bit. This is a Braves jersey. It says number 7, and the name is Dans, Dans.
Dansby?
That is Dansby Swanson. All right, 3 for 3.
Man,
All right.
you know what? In the old days, they had like Oil Can Boyd, Three Finger Brown. Like they had like names, and now we've got KB and Dan's.
Look, I
Yeah.
distinctly remember Hunter Pence went out there with the name Underpants. I remember.
was a
Oh,
good
who
one.
was it? Who was it? Boxburger just had like emoji symbols, was a box and a cheeseburger.
Yes.
That was a good one.
That was a great one.
Um,
Yeah, when
I
your
was- I
your
was
name's
looking
Boxburger,
for-
you don't get a nickname. It's just already there.
That's right. Okay, so here we go. This is
Zorilla.
Zorilla. Who's that?
Zobrist?
That
It
is
is.
Ben Zobrist. Yes. All right. Now we're gonna go hard mode. This.
Okay.
Let's see where we got him. Oh, I don't think I put it up here yet. Where is he at?
But yeah, so Zorilla, I think was always a tough one. We always called him Benzo.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I always liked Benzo, but
Here we go.
Ooh, this
a
is tough.
Red Sox jersey. This one says Dirty Craig.
Dirty Craig.
Yep.
your hint
Was
is
a Cub.
he's a closer.
He's a closer.
That's right. Got that silly stance where he kind of leans over and sticks his arm out to the side.
Oh. I don't remember his name.
Okay, that one's Craig Kimbrell.
Kimbrel.
I forgot he was a Red Sox.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
Half of those guys were Red Sox before they were on the Cubs. All right, who's up next? I like this. This is fun.
All right, we'll go. Okay, so this person was a Chicago Cub way at the beginning of his career, but hasn't been a Cub for a very long time. This is a number 44, and the name on the back is D Mountain.
D Mountain?
If you get this one, Andrew,
you win.
You absolutely. This is for all the points.
I'm gonna have to pass. I don't know.
That's all right. This is our good friend Rich Hill.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. All right, last one. Throw you a little bit of a meatball to recoup from that. Number 9, El Mago.
Javier Baez.
Oh yeah.
Him.
Yeah.
El Mago. Number 9 on his jersey. Number 1 in our hearts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So so those were that was kind of the old way they did it. And then I think didn't they just not do it for a couple years due to the pandemic and stuff? And then this is the first
pandemic
year.
And the work stoppage just kind of went away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the first year they came back with it. Now, you guys were actually at the game. I don't know if you could see any of the stuff that they were
do anything
fancy
cool?
bats.
I know they didn't do jerseys. I didn't get to watch the games because I had to do my grown-up job, which is not very fun. But I am very interested to know what very cool, super awesome things they had going on for Players Weekend, so we could really see the players' personalities shine. What did you see at the game?
I barely saw anything that was different. It was mostly just some special bats.
Yeah.
I saw one that was a pencil. That was probably the most
that's pretty
exciting
cool.
thing. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Like a number 2 pencil? He's just gonna just do a
Wasn't the eraser
stand
painted at
test
the end?
in between innings.
Yeah, there was an eraser at the end.
That's amazing.
So that's kind of cool, but I mean, really, the Cubs kind of just didn't do anything. They barely. I know. I didn't even realize it was Players Weekend when I was there. I saw it on Friday on the game. They kind of talked a little bit about it, but then when I was actually at the game, I totally forgot. There was nothing there that made me think it was Players Weekend. And then again, watching the game on Sunday, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't remember anything happening there.
I
had heard
was
that
a Blue Jays player, right?
Yeah, that was a Blue Jays player.
Right on. I had heard that they had special shoes. Some of them had special shoes designed for them by either small businesses or charities. And then all of those were auctioned off after the game. I wish I had seen more of it. I know the Cubs Twitter account. I'm not on a ton of social media all the time. I'm a huge Twitter person. And I know that the Cubs Twitter account was really focused on their cancer charity over this past weekend. So I didn't really see a whole lot of Players Weekend stuff come around. Did you guys see any of that, or put it in the comments, man? If people had cool shoes, I want to know about it. What should I go look up?
No,
one I showed you.
Yeah, that showed me one where PCA had Ryan Sandberg cleats. That was cool.
That's so cool.
Well,
But even that one, I saw it on Twitter after the game.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have noticed during the game.
Yeah. So we did take part in that.
That's if you haven't heard. Ryan Sandberg, he's been fighting cancer, and he just recently got news. He had his last cancer treatment. He has no detectable cancer, and he is in maintenance going forward. It's really, really great news.
Yeah. Well, we actually, during that game, we took part in the Stand Up to Cancer, where and what was funny is that I know Mike and I talked about this during the game. We got confused because the inning before, they actually announced that Ryan Sandberg was there, and they showed the video of him ringing the bell that he's through chemo and all the stuff, and they talked about him, and he waved to the crowd and did all that stuff. And we thought, oh, this is when we're doing the stand up to cancer. And then, nope, they just went on. And then the next inning, they're like, now it's time for stand up to cancer. We were so confused by the whole process. Yeah.
Goodness.
But
Yeah, we had times. You want to say who you were standing up for?
Yeah, I stood up for my grandmother who has had breast cancer a couple of times.
Oh, nice.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I held up a sign for my parents. They both passed several years ago, but both passed with cancer.
Oh, yeah. It's rough. Yeah. We're just keeps coming back to that, doesn't it?
Hashtag F cancer, etc.
Yep.
Speaking of,
So, here's one thing real quick, though. All right. Andrew, Friday, I guess. Cubs won 6-5, but it was a walk-off in what we like to call around here clown ball. What was your experience with clown ball at the ballpark?
I just thought for sure this was going to be an easy win. And then Heart Attack Hector came out and delivered the heart attack. And I was just disappointed in the Cubs. But luckily we got the lead back and ended up winning it in extra innings. All thanks to Saya.
Was it wild? Yeah. Was it wild there when they walked it off?
Yeah, it was.
That's cool.
It was very loud.
Okay. So, well, that was kind of the whole weekend. Blue Jays, the Cubs won 2 out of 3. Is that right? Yeah. Cubs.
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because in the rundown, it says game 3 was 1-0, but it was 0-1. That's what got me confused. That was rough. Shota was actually really good. When he was out there, he makes one mistake, and then they make that stand up the whole day because of.
It wasn't even that bad of a mistake. It wasn't that bad of a pitch. Guy just got it.
Yeah, it happens. Like you have to be able to score more than 0. You can't win with 0. Andrew, I don't know if you know this, but little advice from me: if you want to win anything, you have to score more than 0.
Yeah, that's
it doesn't have to be much more than 0 sometimes, but more than 0, definitely preferable to 0 in all cases.
You don't win many games 0 to -1.
No.
No matter how many defensive runs saved you might have, you cannot win it that way. But all right, well, thank you, Andrew, for coming on and telling us about your weekend, talking a little Blue Jays, all the different stuff you got to do. It was nice meeting you. I had a good time this weekend when we were hanging out, and so you can stick around as we continue to talk, or you can go off and do whatever. You got school starting here soon?
School starts on Monday.
My son starts tomorrow on a Friday. Like, who starts school on a Friday?
That's crazy.
That's just rude.
Yeah.
So
That's wild.
But I'm taking him out of school next week for 2 days. So he's going to have a 4-day weekend immediately. So that's kind of good.
Perfect.
That's fun.
Yeah.
You want a stick or you want to go?
I'm going to go.
Give us a spagog on the way out?
Yeah. Spagog. Goodbye.
Nice. Yeah. Anybody, for the Patreon supporters out there, you've actually heard Andrew before because he did the Cubs pod with Mike Waller that we heard on Saturday, and he dropped a really good spagog on that one too. So I know I
had fun. So thanks for letting him do it.
Yeah,
we had a good time with that one.
Cool. Yeah, it was fun, and it's great to get a chance to hear from kids what they think of the game and doing different stuff. I know I like to. I have a 19-year-old, and I actually can't bring him on the show because he talks more than me, and we will never get out of here.
Is that possible?
Yeah. So right after the Blue Jays, and Mike, maybe you want to lead on this one here a little bit since you talked about it on Cubs PS Plus. We got a little bit of a bombshell. Hector Neris, Gonzo.
Yeah, I mean, that was wild. So I was actually going to record that day, and usually what happens is I go record and put myself in a black hole for an hour, and all the news breaks while I'm recording. But this time I had a work meeting, and I found out beforehand. But I was a little surprised they did it. I wasn't surprised they put him on waivers, because if somebody claimed him off waivers, they'd take that contract and save a little bit of money. And I'm sure we'll talk about the CBT threshold later. But once they didn't, I wonder if it had to have been some sort of mutual agreement. I saw he was going to sign with the Astros today, apparently, which doesn't surprise me at all. But
yep, there he is. He's back, they say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just became clear he wasn't going to be a part of next year's plan. So move him along and bring up Jack Neely, start seeing more of the kids, and see if we have a closer in house.
And I know, just as a person whose like secondary team is the Seattle Mariners over here on the left coast, I just know that the Astros are going to be smart enough not to make him close or put him into high leverage positions, and he's going to be fucking annoying the rest of the season.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, he's not a bad pitcher. He was just put in a role he's not great at.
Yeah, and I mean
that role is not giving up runs.
Yes.
And he actually did he not pick up like 16 saves out of?
He was like 18 for 23.
18 for 23. I mean, for a whole season, that's actually not horrendous. It's just that
They're all noisy.
When it went bad, it went really bad. Even when it went good, even when it went good, it was going bad, and then he'd get through it. But
That's
when
the
it
thing. He
went
had
bad,
traffic all the time, and we watched him Friday, and I was telling Andrew, we saw his stats up there. He's like 1.48 whip, so like you average 1 or 2 base runners every inning he throws. And then, of course, that was crazy because they scored 3 runs and like 6 guys got on base. But that's the Hector experience.
Yeah. Well, it was the experience for us. What did you what do you got, IFG? You look like you want to say something, like you're debating whether you like.
But the thing is, look, I'm let me see.
For the podcast listeners, she is
pulling down
pulling
my
off
dub flag.
her W flag that's got all the signatures.
So I have been to four Cubs wins this season, and 2 of them were Hector Neris saves. In both of those saves, I lost years off of my life from the sheer amount of stress this man put me through. I am due financial compensation for the anxiety medication that I am going to take to have to recover from Hector Neris. Like, I get that, like, a save situation is never going to feel comfortable, but you should at least have like some level of like hope that the person getting up there is going to do okay. And despite the fact that for the most part, when he was in a save situation, we did kind of come out on the positive side, it never felt like that was what was going to happen.
Nope.
Not once.
Well, the thing that frustrated me was, sure, in the beginning he had to step up. Adbert was terrible. Merriweather was hurt. They didn't really have anybody. But as this bullpen got better, and Tyson Miller was looking really good, and Jorge Lopez was looking good, and Porter Hodge was growing in, even before he got hurt, Luke Little was looking better. Like, at no point did they really ever, I guess they briefly took Neris out after a couple blown saves and put Keegan Thompson and Colton freaking Brewer in there. But, like, why did they never experiment with Lopez or Miller or Hodge before now? I mean, that would have been a chance to try to grow somebody, and if it doesn't work, you can fall back to Hector, but they just stuck with him the whole time.
Yeah, I think the answer there is calculators. The abacus The abacus told them that it's Neris or nobody, and as long as the calculators were on their side, they can't get in trouble. I guess, I don't know, but so he was gone. They called up Jack Neely, who the Cubs just got in that Al Leiter Jr. trade. We traded 48-year-old, 150-year-old Al Leiter for Jack Neely on, and not good the first time we saw him, because he was with the Cubs as the Cubs welcomed in the Detroit Tigers and our long lost loved son Jorge, Javi. I said Jorge. Javi Baez.
Javi Stroman.
Yeah, and the first game, Javier Assad versus Javi Baez. Look, and I'll tell you, like, Javier Assad is maybe my favorite player on this team now that Morel's gone, and to see him going up against Javi Baez was, I don't know, it was a little, I don't know. I honestly didn't exactly know who I wanted to win the battle.
I was a little nervous.
Yeah. But Javi came out. They gave him the standing O. It's so weird that is the first time he's been back since in 3 years or whatever.
I was actually thinking he'd come back with the Mets at the end of 2021, but I guess he didn't. So this was the first trip back.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well,
we're going to see Rizzo for the first time in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's so crazy that we haven't seen these guys, because it feels like we've gone through all the 16ers and gotten that. But man, yeah. But they said on the broadcast today that the Pirates had not been to the Tigers hadn't been to Wrigley since 2018. That's 6 years. So crazy, especially since now. We're supposed to play everybody once a year, and I know it's only been 2 years, but it just seemed like I couldn't believe it had been 2018.
Yeah, it's still weird, even though we play them every year. It's not, you're not going to get every team literally every other year, but we've played the Tigers on the road twice. We played the Yankees on the road twice. I mean, it's at least they're coming around. So Yankees will be here this year, and Tigers were here obviously, and I think those are the last two. I can't think of anybody else floating out there, at least that matters, that hasn't been back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Javi went 0 for 4, but he ended the game 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, by the way. But he ended the game out there, and it was only 3-1. So the game was in reach if they did something, and Javi Baez comes up with 2 outs in the 9th, and I swear I just thought it was going to go so bad for the Cubs right there.
Oh, I assumed he was going to hit a 3-run homer with only one guy on base.
Yeah, exactly. But they struck him out, dropped the sombrero on him, and it was rough. But it did remind me 10 years ago. I got to see his first game in Colorado, and he struck out 4 times and then hit the game-winning home run in the 10th inning. So you just never know. He can come up anytime and blow it up. Cubs get that one 3-1.
Yeah, and I was just say I hate the way his career's gone. I mean, I'm not sure I've had as much fun watching any individual player as I have watching Javi Baez. And I talked about it on Cubs Pod the other day, so I won't do it again. But that play against Pittsburgh was like the Javi Baez experience in a nutshell. It's just complete madness. Talk about chaos agent. Like, he was the chaos agent before PCA. Kind of funny that they got traded for each other.
Literally, if I do the math, that might be my favorite single at bat of all time.
Yes.
I laugh my ass off every single time I see it. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I'm feeling bad. I will just watch that happen again just to remember what laughing is like. Will Craig, the first baseman there, was credited with 1 of 2 errors in that play. If you're listening, you don't remember. You know which play we're talking about. Will Craig was credited with 1 of those 2 errors. Within a week, he had been DFA'd. Within a month, he was playing baseball in Korea. And
Javi
the
Baez
next
ended a
season,
career.
he was hired on as an assistant coach at the college that he graduated from. Javi Baez ruined that man's career. Ended it. Cash. Done. Magic. Poof. He was the sacrifice. Will Craig was the sacrifice to make that play happen. And you know what? I thank him for his service.
Yeah. Oh,
But my favorite part is just like that whole time he's down there and Javi does the safe call. And still, at any point, if they get the ball and go to first base, Javi's out, run doesn't count, innings over. And
all he had to do was put his foot on the bag. At
Yes.
any point in that play, all he had to do was put his foot on first base. Hilarious. I die. I'm sorry.
or if he pushes Javi any further back, if Javi crosses back over home plate, they're going to call him out for giving himself up. I mean, it's. And then you got JD at the end of the call when he slides into second base and the throw goes over again. He's like, "Go, go! You're invisible."
Keep going.
Rizzo's falling out of the dugout laughing
He
so hard.
says.
yeah. It was such a great play. And if you listen to the Pirates broadcast on that, they're beyond frustrated. It's the other side of it, right? And they're just like, what is going on? They're like, just touch first. Just like they can't believe what's happening. And then when they throw the ball away and he runs to second, one of the announcers is like, somewhere I can hear a calliope playing or something like that, like doo, 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 doo. Like that was his call on that. And I always remember that the Pittsburgh Pirates broadcaster talking about the calliope playing while Javi's running the bases. But like, and it wasn't even just that. It was Rizzo over there at first catching a routine pop fly and Javi Baez standing 2 inches away from him, just face right next to Rizzo's and like actually pissing Rizzo off because he's right next to him. And he's not trying to catch the ball. He's just there to mess with them. Oh, man, those games were fun. And then at one point during this series, I think it was in yesterday's game, but Bethencourt throws down to Dansby and the ball shoots away and goes into outfield on a steal. And I just remembered the Contreras, and not just Contreras, but the Contreras-Javi hookup to gun guys at second base, the no-look tags.
Yes.
He created tag porn. He created tag porn and slide porn for the same play on opposite sides.
You're seeing kids in the Little League World Series right now doing Javi Baez's swim move into bases. It's amazing.
Yes.
Beautiful. True magician, even shared his secrets.
Yep. And then, here's the of course, we will never be able to forget the WBC, Puerto Rico, Yadier Molina throwing the ball down to second on a steal, and Javi pointing back at Yadi. I got him. Great throw. Never even looking, just catching the ball and landing the tag on him.
He's pointing before he's got the ball. He just knows it's going to be there.
Yep, it was amazing, and I honestly I would tell my kids this, and when I would coach, I would try to coach kids the way that Javi covered the bag on steals, because everybody pretty much, but especially kids, go and they want to stand on second base or straddle second base on a steal. And I'm like, well, if you actually stand in front of second base, and I learned this watching Javi Baez, if you stand in front of second base, you actually cut that throw shorter, which is really important in Little League. But you cut this throw shorter and you have more time to make the tag. Mm-hmm. And so, I personally became a better coach and helped coach kids because watching Javi just do what he did over there in those tag, plays. It was amazing.
Yeah, and when my oldest was that age, all the kids knew who Javi was.
Yeah.
That was back 2015, 2016, 2017. Now I still use Javi as an example on those, but A lot more of the kids are like, "Who are you talking about, old man?"
Who? Yeah.
Yeah. They're just like, doesn't he play for Detroit half the time? Yeah. So, well, Javi came back. He played in the first game, Golden Sombrero. Second game, Tyone. We got the 2023 Tyone. Gave up 4 runs in the third inning or something like that. And then,
he wound up getting through 6, I think.
Yeah.
Which is
I mean, he had a perfectly fine outing, but he gave the 4 runs. And that, unfortunately, was too many. The only guy who was able to score any runs at that was Christian Bethencourt. This guy, like, IFG, you love the backup catchers. Danny's been a huge backup catcher guy for this whole podcast. Like, Bethencourt is really, I mean, he's a lot of fun when he gets out there.
Delightful.
Yeah, and that ball did not look like a home run off the bat.
No.
It looked way too low.
No.
But he hit it hard enough that it just never came back down. But
I'm very much looking forward. I have a general rule. If a backup catch, like I love to collect my jerseys here. And I like to have the jerseys of like the guys who like 10 years from now you're gonna wear that and somebody's gonna go, was that dude a Cub?
Yeah,
Love those. So yeah, my general rule for the backup catcher, if I am at the ballpark and the backup catcher hits a home run, I'm gonna buy that guy's jersey, right? If he steals home, buying his jersey. I love it. I love a good steal at home, and if they hit a walk off. So those are 3 things. Come on, Christian, work with me. Steal home one time. I will put the money down. It'll be in road gray. All my backup catchers are in road gray.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, so that was like really the only, like the one highlight of that game. And then today, the Cubs blow them out 10-2 off of the starting catcher, Amaya, with the grand slam. Now, Amaya has completely changed his game. Like,
Yes.
They talk about the step, like I can't remember, did he eliminate it or did he add it?
He eliminated it, yeah.
Yeah, he eliminated it, and all of a sudden he's hitting better. His batting average is going way up, and his power is now showing up as well. Like, we've been looking for this since Wilson Contreras left. Nobody has been like this. And I'm not going to say Amaya is Wilson Contreras. He's clearly got some work to do to get there. But we're seeing trending towards that at least.
Well, and remember, he was, before he had that huge run of awful injuries, he was a top prospect in baseball. He was a top 30 in baseball, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty consensus. And so sitting in our seats, so Cotton, you sat with us on Saturday, like, we have a really good view of the batters, how they stand. So I was able to see Amaya's stance in a way I don't typically see on TV. He is really wide. He is definitely out beyond shoulder width, and he just kind of lifts up the heel as a timing mechanism, but the toe never leaves the ground. And his,
like a Bagwell sort of,
kind of, yeah. Bagwell
out?
would actually step backwards. He'd start super wide and then kind of step back about maybe a half a stride, but similar. And it gives him such a wide base, and he's so much quicker to the ball right now that, I mean, kudos to the staff for working with him, and kudos to Miguel for picking it up and going with it. It's clearly working right now.
Yeah, and I guess I have to give props. I mean, I kill this staff weekly with not developing guys, not getting the things that they're supposed to be doing. And somebody looking at that iPad figured it out. And so, good job.
On that front, this year's been such a mixed bag. I mean, we saw before Christopher Morel got traded, that K rate clearly dropped and the walk rate clearly went up. He was clearly showing more discipline at the plate. We've seen the Miguel Amaya transformation. We've seen PCA completely change who he is over the last 6-8 weeks. I mean, that's clear growth. So there are some things they're doing with guys that's working, but then, obviously other guys are a complete mess. So
yeah,
it's some of one, some of the other.
Well, at least we're starting to see some positive growth, because I was getting very frustrated with these guys coming up and like nothing. But at the same time, all the guys you just mentioned, the guys that you're talking about, they're all getting plenty of run in order to figure this out. Because when they keep sending them back to Iowa, they aren't learning anything new. They're just going back home where they're comfortable and they can just, and they can hit off of lesser pitchers and stuff. So, these guys are getting run and it's helping them. And
the difference between major league pitching and minor league pitching is bigger than it's ever been before. You just don't see all the stuff. That's why I've been so glad that they've kept PCA up and let him continue to go out there every day.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing the benefits of it.
Well, and the other thing with minor league pitching versus major league pitching is that in the minors, they do have a challenge system. That challenge system forces pitchers to stay closer in the zone and allows the batter to not swing. And if the ump calls a strike on what should be a ball or a ball on what should be a strike, he can motion to the manager and say, let's challenge this, right? So that's an opportunity. So that's a thing that they could do, but that just means pitchers have to stay more around that zone. Now, they come up to the majors, that's no longer there, and the pitchers at the majors know how to start to expand the strike zone. Like if they get the opportunity, they start to expand that strike zone. And then, these young guys who, if they don't get a chance to see a lot of it, they have no idea what they're seeing. They're standing there going, well, that ball was way out. And it's just like, well, yeah, but that's because the pitcher worked on the ump's perception for the last 3 innings so that he could throw you garbage because he knows that you won't swing at it,
Yeah.
So, which is, again, why I believe that if they bring the K-Zone robo-ump thing, I think it'll destroy pitching, at least for a while until there's an adjustment. But,
we'll see. I don't think the change will be as big as what you're saying, but maybe I'll be wrong. I do hope we find out.
I don't. But okay, I think it is about time for a break.
A little break.
But before we get going, what do?
Who's that Cubby?
Cubby! And today...
Everybody should get this one.
Yeah, so we've got a left-handed batter standing in the box. We also have a catcher and the umpire behind. You are not trying to figure out who the catcher or umpire is.
Looks like Olaf.
Yeah, when I was making this one, I couldn't isolate just the batter like I normally can. So you get all of them that way. So we are going to go to break. If you think you know who this is, then put it in the chat. And when we get back, we will let you know. But I got to get to the brand down here. All right, let's do this one.
All over Chicagoland, there are thirsty, frazzled, overworked Cubs podcasters who are struggling to survive one more baseball season in the dog-eat-dog world of unpaid content creation. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can make a difference. Become a super ranter at patreon.com/sunranto, where your support ensures that poor, sad, pathetic, ugly, loser Cubs podcasters can pay for tickets and beer, and in turn, line the pockets of the baseball oligarch Ricketts family. Just $1 a month can buy a scorecard. $5 a month can pay for guitar strings to write a Cubs song. And $10 a month almost buys 1 beer at Wrigley Field. Cubs content creators are the lowest pieces of pond scum garbage that slither over the face of this planet. But super ranters help them get drunk and screw off at baseball games. What do you get out of it? The Sun Ranto Show delivered to your podcatcher without stupid advertisements like the one you're seeing and hearing right now. Plus, at other Super Ranter levels, you can get Cubs music, access to private Sun Ranto pages, the Ranter calendar, and special thanks and Ranter recognition in our live broadcasts. Plus, eligibility for monthly prizes. What does Ranto get out of it? Your money. For tickets and beer. Go to patreon.com/sunranto. That's patreon.com/sunranto. And become a super ranter today.
Do you ever find yourself longing for long walks and talks about catcher metrics? How about a coffee or a run differential? Maybe a candlelit dinner dissecting what exactly is the curious case of Miles Mastrobuoni? If you have, I have just the place for you, the Cubs PS Plus podcast. Come join us. Cubs PS Plus, a Northside numbers game, can be found wherever it is you get your podcasts, and on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Cubs PS Plus, a spin on the baseball metric OPS Plus. Are you ready? I'm ready. Here we go.
All right, we are back, and Alexander Miller is the only one who has chosen to guess at this one, and he is correct. It is
lefty, except play baseball until now. Fly ball to center.
You guys remember the last time we were truly happy?
It's 12-5.
Really?
Yep. So that is Javi Baez hitting left-handed. It was a 12-5 blowout of the Reds down in Cincinnati, and he went out there. It might have been against a position player pitching. I'm not exactly sure.
It was.
And so he went lefty and went down to a knee, kind of looked a little bit like Rizzo's swings, where he would always end up down on the knee a little bit. So, but yeah, God, those teams were so much fun. Like, that's the thing we're missing with the Cubs now is just literally just goofball antics and fun. And, Joe Madden, he really encouraged that out of his players, like allowing them to do the things that they want to do. And I don't know if that's just not there anymore. I have no idea, but it's a bummer.
Yeah, I feel, I don't know, like it felt like that era of the Cubs. They were just a bunch of dumb kids who were up there playing a game, and like, I don't care that like nothing ever crossed Kyle Schwarber's brain that wasn't held together with red string. I loved that team. You could see it. They were having fun. They liked each other. If they didn't for any reason, like even that was kind of fun. Like it was just a fun team to be around. And like, I feel like ever since they broke up the band, like all you hear every offseason is, oh, we're gonna sign this guy because of his amazing leadership. He's a great clubhouse leader. I don't want that crap. I don't want a clubhouse leader. I want somebody who needs mom to bring the orange slices so they don't like die of dehydration. I want people who are like so into the game they can't think of anything else. I just want the magic back.
Yeah, I want them to have fun.
Remember the whole Javi Amir Garrett thing? That clip.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Oh yeah, in that last time when he
Rode the boat.
He rode the boat with the bat. Oh my God. Yeah, but you're right. Like they've been going after. That is the clear leadership. That's a clear delineation between the Theo and Madden, and I'm going to put Madden in there because Theo didn't actually want Javi. Madden pushed that button. He said, "Nope, we're bringing up Javi." Like because Javi was actually McKendry's like last pick. So the former regime picked him, and so of course Theo didn't really like him, but Madden stuck up for him, and they kept him, and he became one of our favorite players. But
Madden also recognized that like he was the one that was always advocating for Javi to be Javi. Like don't change him. You're going to take the good out of what he does, and you're just going to have to live with the 0 for 4 with 4 Ks or a crazy mistake on the bases or a throw with 8 feet over Rizzo's head because it was just going to happen sometimes.
And it's worth it because without putting up with that stuff, we don't get the end of Will Craig's career on the funniest play of all time. and we don't get, swimming into second base or over sliding first and kind of grabbing onto the funny little thing. Like the sheer entertainment that was Javi Baez. And I know that right now, as a free agent who's getting all of his money, he's not like the best player ever. Do I fully believe with my entire heart that his drop off would not have been quite so precipitous had he still been in Chicago? Absolutely. Like, because Javi, like, he loves the lights and he loves the attention and he likes to play when he's happy. He appreciates a crowd that loves him. And like, not that anybody is all stuff, but like, I mean, I would have watched Javi be a terrible player on the Chicago Cubs until he was 40 and hit his last home run into the basket on the day that he retired. Like, I would do that. I don't care. Like, if I am going to watch the Cubs be boring and lose anyway, why can't we not do it with Javi being an absolute damn delight in my clubhouse every single day?
Yeah. And you know what? And it wasn't even just Javi. Like we also had Starlin Castro, who was on this team before everybody else. And he was that sort of goofball as well, doing the shadow ball mimicking Chris Bryant, which is another of the funniest plays you'll ever see. And just he would do some goofball stuff too. And he was just
Rizzo was a big goofball.
Yeah. Rizzo was a huge goofball.
Yeah. Totally different way from Javi, but still a goofball.
Yeah.
Jumping
honestly,
2 years in a row. He jumped up on that tarp.
Yes.
And destroyed the Brewers. Both times Brewers, both times Rizzo jumping on the tarp and stealing that ball that was going out of bounds. They made a rule. You're no longer allowed to get on the tarp. You can't jump up on the tarp.
The first time Rizzo did that was Andrew's second Cubs game ever.
Oh my God, really? What a great game to be at. I loved it.
It's so fun. I honestly thought, like, I really, there was a whole lot of debate over like which of the core team that they were going to give like the forever contract to, right? And I honestly, with my entire heart, I wanted it to be this person. I wanted it to be that person, but I truly never believed that they would ever let Rizzo go. I thought Rizzo was going to be our new Ryan Sandberg. I thought Rizzo was going to be buried under first base.
I even thought when they traded him, I thought he would come back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wild stuff. I still don't believe it sometimes.
Yeah.
And of all the guys that they got rid of, it was Rizzo and Javi that I really wanted to keep. Those were the two.
Yep.
And those are the two that hurt the worst. And they're still the two.
KB was always inevitable to me.
Yeah, KB always seemed inevitable, and I mean, I was a big supporter of Kyle Schwarber like forever, and I was like, the DH is coming, it's fine, like he's good enough to get us through until we have the DH, yep. Like it'll be fine, I promise. And now everybody's like, hey, look at Ian Hemp, he's got 10 outfield assists, he's a Gold Glover, and I'm like, we let Kyle go after the year that he got 11. Everybody was telling me he was a terrible outfielder. Was he a great outfielder? No. Would he have been an amazing DH? Should we have given him a contract? I think we should have. Sorry.
Yeah. And there's another guy having fun out in the field. Mm-hmm. The left field bleacher bums loved him. He interacted with them. There are memes out there with him doing little dances. Dances. Yeah. Like it was a really different time on this team. And do we miss the winning? Absolutely.
Sure.
But they would even losing, they would be a more entertaining team.
I will say that there's a little bit of hope. I think Shota shows a ton of personality.
He's so fun.
And
Shota and Seiya actually as well. And
Seiya's really funny.
Unfortunately, their language is not English is their second language, so it doesn't. I think they would be so much more engaging if we understood Japanese.
And I think like Kevin Alcantara comes up with a lot of swag. I mean,
he's fun. I enjoy Kevin Alcantara.
So there's a chance that some of this is coming, but there's not enough of it right now at the big league.
And I'll just say what I say every day. None of it will matter until Jed Hoyer's gone. Like, the fish rots from the head, and he's the one that keeps this stuff on lock. And the Theo regime allowed for fun, and it does not feel like that's the way that the Jed Hoyer does. But here's the thing. Even with as bad as these Cubs have been, they're actually doing pretty good in attendance. Like, oh man, just buttery smooth transition. Everybody's so excited right now. Yeah, these numbers came out. These are the current, right now attendance figures for the major leagues. And I just kind of wanted to look at them because, of course, the Cubs are right up there. They're in the top 10. They're number 7 with 59 games. And, of course, because of the insane schedule that the Major League Baseball has never been able to figure out, all these teams have different numbers of games. So these aren't perfect numbers. But the Cubs broke their 2 million mark, right? What this means, and their average attendance is 36,553. What that means is the Ricketts are just making money hand over fist. They have said in the past, if they can put 50% of the seats, they can fill 50% of the seats, that's when they start to make money. Mm-hmm. And 50% of the seats is right around 20,000.
Yeah, between 20 and 21. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that they're getting 16,000 average more every single game, they're just printing money, which is super frustrating because it's the most expensive it's either the most expensive ticket or like second or third most expensive ticket.
It's second right now. They were first a couple of years ago, but after the trade-off and then 22, they did back the prices off a little bit.
Right. But I think the fan experience, like food and beer and all that stuff, though, I think they're at number 1.
They're certainly no lower than 2. Yeah.
Yeah, because my goodness, $13, $14 beers, 16-ounce beers is just insane. Like, I don't know.
I was a sucker. I got a bat this weekend.
Yeah, you got a bat, but you know what? I guess if
you got to do it once, right?
You do it once. Yeah, exactly. And if you're lucky, you do not let Johnny Onomatopoeia play with it because he will destroy that damn thing. But one thing I wanted to point out too is, so they have St. Louis as number 6 on this list. Oh, by the way, for the podcast listeners, you can't see it. Sorry. The Dodgers are first. They're at almost 3 million already, and they are 500,000 people more than the Yankees, who are number 2. And then
it's
Philadelphia.
Shocking. Who would want to see Shohei and Mookie Betts, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you mean if you put the best players on the field, you'll get the most fans? Yeah,
sometimes.
That's an interesting concept.
It's LA. They'll show up in the 4th inning, but they'll get
Yeah. Then it's Philadelphia. Again, another high-priced team. San Diego, another high-priced team. These are the top teams. Atlanta, I don't know that I think they're pretty high, but they have also...
Yeah, but they're a cult.
Yeah, they've also done really well with like signing their young guys early so that it doesn't get quite as high. But that's the top 5 teams. And these are like, if you really want to make money, you sign the best players and you'll make money. Oh, by the way, I believe those top 5 teams are all in the playoffs right now, as of now. Like either a wild card or yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But then 6, they've got St. Louis at 2,099,000 fans, 712 fans. So at 57 games, and they've got them above the Cubs, who are at 2,156,642. But the Cubs have 2 more games. So what that means is that the average attendance at Busch Stadium is about 300 more per game, according to these numbers. There's no way in hell. I have seen all the, like, like I've seen so many times that Busch Stadium, they're like, it's a sellout, and there's like 2/3 full. Like there's no way that they're selling this thing out. So I don't really believe these numbers. And they're basically saying if the Cardinals over the next 2 games, if to catch up with the Cubs, would be able to put 51,000 fans over 2 games in the seats, only if the Cubs come. Right? They're not doing that with any other team. Maybe like the Yankees or something, but and the Cubs aren't playing them for the rest of the year. So I don't know. These numbers, and you go on the secondary market, and the secondary market is really down for the Cardinals. Like you can get cheap tickets anytime, and they still, there's no way they're filling 36,000 seats.
Well, and sold is different than the actual attendance. Like my tickets, there was almost no interest this week in the Tigers tickets. I sold a few of them, a few of the seats, but it was just sat empty for the rest of it.
Fully agree with you that is bad data, and I would so much rather see the data on tickets like scanned for entry. You know they have those numbers. Those are not the numbers they are releasing.
Yeah, the turnstiles.
It's always smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. Turnstiles are totally different. But, since we're looking at it, and there's IFG's second team there, Seattle, sitting down at 14. Milwaukee is actually having a great year for them.
Absolutely.
And they're 13th.
Sorry. No, Milwaukee is having a great year, unfortunately. I think it's probably more a indictment on the rest of the National League Central.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That, like, are they doing really well, or is like the entire rest of the division doing absolutely terribly?
Well, and I'm just talking about seats sold, right?
Right.
Like they have had good seasons on the field before and not come in the top half of the league.
That's fair.
So with them, and they're going to break 2 million
in first
this
place
year.
sure does sell a lot of tickets, doesn't it?
It does.
Who knew?
Yeah. Who knew? Putting good players and good teams out there will get you tickets. Seattle rounding out the bottom of the top. They're at number 14.
Absolutely astonishing to me, considering what they've been doing lately.
Yep. And then, so we jump into the lower part, and of course, number 30 is Oakland. 524,928 is what they've got. They are averaging 9,000 fans per game. That is AAA numbers.
Well, the ownership has told the fans to fuck off, basically, is what they've done in Oakland.
I mean, 9,000 was like a mediocre weekend at the Renaissance Festival.
Right.
But really, why would you go out there? The owner's been jerking them around for 10 years. Hasn't put a competitive team on the field in probably about 10 years. They know they're going to freaking Sacramento to play in a AAA park for the next 3 years.
Yeah, so they're just trying to bring the numbers down to AAA level so that they can fit them in that park.
Unrelated. I really do need somebody to like let me know exactly what's going into making that AAA ballpark acceptable for Major League Baseball play. Like, I know that there are standards that it has to meet.
Yeah.
Are there?
Well, the field itself, yes, but everything else, I don't think so.
I think that there are like clubhouse standards that need to be met.
Yeah, they'll probably have to enlarge in some of the clubhouses, but
they're going to, like when schools get too many kids and then they put those like Quonset huts and crap, the trailers, they're going to have those. That's where the guys are going to go for their clubhouse. No, so 29 is Miami. They're under 1 million as well.
They're going to get a boost this weekend.
Yeah. And then Tampa Bay. So there we go. Like I've always said, Florida shouldn't have professional baseball teams because there they are, 28 and 29. And then 27, Chicago White Sox. I'm honestly kind of surprised that the White Sox, possibly the worst baseball team in the history of the league, is ahead of 3 other teams. I think that tells you, and Oakland, okay, we all get, right? But I think that tells you Tampa Bay and Miami probably need to be relegated if the White Sox are outdrawing them.
Honestly, like as somebody who I grew up in Florida, right? Like I'm from Pasco County. That is the county north of Pinellas where the Tampa Bay Rays play. And I would do Renaissance Festival in Hillsborough where it's like a not at all far. It's like 2 exits away from the bridge that you cross, and then you go across the bridge and you go like 2 more exits and you're at the ballpark. And that would take me like 2 hours to get over there to watch a baseball game. I would leave fair at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock and show up at the 4th inning of the baseball game. Like, it was ridiculous, absolutely absurd. And then when the game was over, there was nothing to do because the NIMBYs over in St. Petersburg shut down all the cool bars.
Oh,
it was just a god awful baseball experience all around. And that would be fine. Like, I could deal with a god awful baseball experience if that was the only baseball available. But closer to my house, we had the Dunedin Blue Jays and the Clearwater Threshers. And very close to that, we had the Tampa Yankees. And then there's also the Sarasota team. And there was one over in Lakeland. And like, there's so much minor league baseball happening in and around the Tampa area. And like just on the, an hour or 2 away from Miami, you've got everything over in the Fort Myers area. Mm-hmm. And like, there's so much minor league baseball happening in Florida. Why would anybody subject themselves to Tropicana Field on purpose?
Yeah.
And now I hear that they're like building a whole new stadium and all this stuff. And they're, where they're putting it? Right where the Trop is. They're just putting it right there. They're putting a new stadium in the same place that nobody on earth wants to actually go to. It is the wildest thing to me. Nobody wants to be there. It is not the Trop. The Trop itself is bad enough. But if you took the Trop, if you could airlift the Trop out of there and put it anywhere else, you know how many people in Tampa would go to Tampa Bay Rays games just to have like a place where they can stretch out in the air conditioning? Like, it's 72 degrees there all the time in a place where it's like 90 degrees all the time and the air is soup.
And it's easy to get tickets because nobody's going.
Exactly. But if you put it in Tampa, people would go because it's easier to get to.
Yep.
But like, it's not, I understand it's not the Rays' fault that Tampa was like built for cattle ranchers and orange groves. And there's only like 2 roads in any direction. But also that is the reason why nobody is going to St. Petersburg. It is not because the Tropicana Field is a terrible ballpark. It is, but that's not the reason people aren't going there. It's because it's hard to get to and there's nothing to do when you're there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're going to be stuck there, you better have something to do.
Like hanging a brand new crystal chandelier in a haunted house. It's not raising the value at all.
No.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, sorry, that was my rant for today.
No, that was good. Well, you know what? I'm going to give you an opportunity right now to, instead of rant, to rave. Let's say some goodbyes and, to some very deserving guys. Joey Votto posted his locker from the Buffalo. What was it? I don't know what his team name was, but the Toronto minor league team that he's been playing with in Buffalo, New York. Yep. Posted a picture of his locker and basically saying goodbye. He's done.
Yep. He posted on Instagram. Here we go.
That's it. I'm done. I am officially retired from baseball.
I cried. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
My favorite Cub killer ever.
Dude's like puts a big long thank you there on his Instagram. Talking about everybody. Says, "Now you're a loose," says Gino, who is another one of my favorite people who's never been a Cub. I love Gino Suarez. And then comes over to Twitter. He says, "Driving to the stadium right now. My Uber driver asked, 'Are you a player?' And I said, 'No.'"
Oh, man.
Damn. Look at this dude's career. This is
first ballot Hall of Famer, easy.
Absolutely. If I have a vote, I am like doing fraud to make sure that he gets 10 votes instead. It says who's on top. It's Red's career ranks. He's first all time in walks with 1,365. Now, remember, the Reds are a very old baseball team. They have been around for a very long time, almost as long as the Cubs, arguably longer than the Cubs.
They had kind of a big machine going there for a decade or so.
Big, huge old machine.
They've had some amazing players.
That's right.
Before Joey Votto. So when you're on top of some of those guys, like that's big.
It's huge. So he's number one all time in Reds career walks with 1,365. He's second in career home runs with 356. He is second of all time in doubles with 459. Third all time with RBIs, 1,144. Third all time in runs, 1,171. Fourth all time in hits alone, 2,135, and fifth in sheer games played at 2,056. A well-played career. Nobody exemplifies the spirit of just being a ball player like Joey Votto does. I don't know anybody on this earth that doesn't love and respect Joey Votto, and if they do exist, they don't deserve to.
It is insanely hard as career. A player for a rival, an in-division rival, to be so good and also so nice, right? Yes. That you can win over the fans of the other teams
while you're killing them.
While you're killing them.
I've never been so happy for the Cubs to lose to somebody than
and
Joey Votto.
You showed those numbers. So you're first in walks and you're second in home runs. Those two things do not go together.
Right.
Okay. No. When you get walked, it's because they are worried that you are going to hit the home run. And a lot of the Reds teams that he was on didn't have other good players. So they're just like, well, we're not going to let Joey Votto beat us. Let's walk him and take our chances with everyone else. So the fact that he was able to get those 356, like you look at 356, that is a lot of home runs. But of course, it's nowhere near the 500 golden number or anything like that. But when you see the walks with it and you know the teams that he was on,
yep,
that number takes on a much greater importance, you know, and it's just more impressive.
Yeah,
to be able to get there.
You know, I'm a big fan. You know, we all love Joe from Obvious Shirts, right? He started printing those shirts after he made his first one back in 2015, I think. And one of his first shirts that he ever made that wasn't a Cubs shirt, right? His Obvious Shirts. Jake Arrieta is good at baseball. Anthony Rizzo is good at baseball. Kyle Schwarber crushes baseballs, whatever. And like one of his first not Cubs shirts that he ever made, I'm still kicking myself in the teeth for not buying it. It said, if Joey Votto didn't swing, it wasn't a strike.
Yeah.
I love that. So I'll add to the stats here for a second. I don't have it up ready to share, but looking at, I've got the list of all-time baseball leaders in Baseball Reference WAR, and he's sitting in the tie for 142nd, but the names around him, he's just a tick below Andre Dawson. He sits just
Hall of
above
Fame.
Just above Willie McCovey, Richie Ashburn, Dave Winfield, Jackie Robinson. Billy Williams is about a run behind him. Lou Boudreau. I mean, he's up in real territory. And
absolutely.
You just read off some of the greatest names in baseball history.
Yeah. And I've seen people kind of dismissing him because he sort of got forgotten because he just played on some of those Reds teams that were bad. But dude could ball and he could play anywhere. And one of my favorite memories of him is the Field of Dreams game 2 years ago when they played the White Sox. They mic'd him up. He was mic'd up for like 20 minutes. And he was giving real, actual, thoughtful answers while playing a game, which I'm not a big fan of that format, but give me Joey Votto on mic anytime, every time for as long as possible.
It's
Absolutely.
it's the only time in all of the times that they've mic'd up a player. That is it. That's the single only time that it was worth it to me. Because I think all of the other ones are bad. I don't like what they're doing. I don't like the questions he asks. But he honestly, and what was great about him too is like they would ask a dumb question and he would just kind of wouldn't answer that question. He would just answer what he
tell a
wanted to
story
talk
or
about.
something, Yeah.
Yeah. He is going to. Well, you know what? I don't know if he's going to be a Cincinnati broadcaster, right? Because he is from Canada.
The
and it's
broadcast crew
possible.
sucks. So I hope he does.
Yeah, and it's possible
know what?
though that he's like, you know what? I want to stay in Canada. But if he wants to take over the Cincinnati job, Cincinnati will have the greatest color man in all of baseball
sure.
as long as he is there.
Hey, special request at MLB Network. Give the man a blank check and a microphone. Just like whatever show he wants to do, just do it. I will watch every single episode. I'll record it. It'll go on my DVR.
But don't put him on the games. I want him calling Reds or whatever team he decides, only calling games. But like you're saying, give him a show. He has he has more that he can do, and he's great at it. Like I would love an off-season show. The kind of stuff he was giving us during the pandemic, just him on an iPhone, just screwing around.
Dude,
Like give him an off-season show, and you will actually have people tuning into the MLB Network all winter long.
when he wasn't signed by anybody, you know, he didn't get picked up at the beginning of the season. He decided to start going to hockey games. It was absolute delight. I was watching him on Instagram, his Instagram stories. He's just like running around getting like pictures of himself with hockey mascots, and it was so fun. Just a delightful human being. And I need more Joey Votto in my life. I don't care what format that content is in. Just make it happen.
Did you guys see a couple years ago? He was injured for a good chunk of a season, and he spent one day just wandering the crowd at Great American Ballpark, just in like plain clothes,
Just
and
hanging
just seeing
out.
like who would notice him. He'd go sit next to somebody and start talking, and it was always the best when
He
they
looked
just
really
had no idea who he
familiar to
was.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it would, I remember that. That was amazing. Well, there was another, this one
Ooh,
was
I have
not
a story. I have a story. A
Votto
story
or my
of-
next one.
I think it's the next one. I have a story of former Cub on former Cub crime
Yeah. So
in several parts.
the Dodgers, said goodbye to Jason Hayward.
Let me tell the story. Let me please.
Okay.
let me
No,
tell
I
the
was
story.
just letting people know it's Jason
Yeah,
Hayward.
Please
got
let me tell the
go
story.
today.
Okay, I'm very
Or
excited.
yesterday.
So I'm very excited to tell this story. This is former Cub on former Cub crime. Now, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, I started watching this team in like 1998. You know who the catcher was in 1998? That was one Scott Service. Somebody who wore the number 9 before our beloved Almago. The Mariners, I have some look. Okay, so here, this is something from Fox Sports MLB. Quoting Ken Rosenthal. On June 18th, the Astros were down 10 games in the AL West to the Seattle Mariners. Since then, they've picked up 15 games in the standings. And today what happened? The Mariners fired the manager, Scott Service. That was today. Immediately before that happened, 2 days ago, Jason Hayward hit a 3-run pinch hit home run to give the Dodgers a 6-3 lead in the bottom of the 8th. Somebody says Jay Hay wants that postseason roster spot bad. Jason Hayward. There was uproar in my home because Jason goddamn Hayward of all people comes up. It's a pinch hit 3-run homer to give the Dodgers the lead over the Mariners in my home of all places. And a day later, we hear the Mariners lose again. And Scott Service has a meeting in the clubhouse before he goes out to talk to reporters, and he's like, "Hey, everybody, you know what? Tomorrow we have a day off. Y'all just relax, go home. Don't think about baseball. Go take a boat, go ride the ferry. I don't know, walk around Pike Place Market and catch a fish. Whatever you do, just like go somewhere and don't think about baseball tomorrow." And so then we find out today, Scott Service was fired by the Seattle Mariners. Dan Wilson is expected to be named the interim manager. He was confirmed as the interim manager. Jerry DiPoto put out a statement. He's like, "Hey, Dan Wilson is going to help out for the next 6 weeks and going forward." So maybe Dan Wilson isn't interim. Maybe he's just, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, driving a deep right field off the bat at Jason Hayward. Thanks so much, Alexander Miller. Jason Hayward gets Scott Service fired and immediately gets DFA'd, gets the big old thank you from the Los Angeles Dodgers. He is no longer a Dodger. Big old thank you thing. Not he's going to be DFA'd. We're going to find something else. No. It's a goodbye.
Yeah.
This is former Cub on former Cub crime. And there you go. Jason Hayward, Scott Service, both fired today.
So, obviously he's DFA'd now. Do you think that Jason Hayward is going to continue? Do you think he's going to try? Or is he? Do you think he's going to try and catch on with another team? Or is he going to maybe call it quits? What do you think?
I truly don't care. I mean,
I think he'll probably retire unless somebody grabs him the rest of the season and he finds some magic or something. But
look, he has made so much money off. We're still paying him. The Chicago Cubs are still paying Jason Hayward to not play baseball for him. For them, words. I don't care. I don't ever want to see Jason Hayward hit a baseball again. He pinch hit 3-run home run. Did he ever do that in 7 years in Chicago? I don't know. Don't look at the numbers. He probably didn't some point.
No, because they never used him as a pinch hitter. They never used him as a pinch hitter. So I doubt that would happen. Well, I mean, I honestly, so when I saw this news, Jason Hayward, we all know, did not live up to the high expectations that a lot of us had for him when he came over from the Cardinals out of the Atlanta system. But I mean, he was probably serviceable except for the contract, right? And that was
the worst part.
Yeah, the contract was the thing that really made it terrible for us. He never really hit the ball well. But the speech, of course, he was on that team. He was, and back then, he really was now that's everybody's going to be a leader. Well, he was kind of that leader back then for that clubhouse. And I don't want him to play for the Cubs, but I would like to see him kind of come back to the Cubs family, sort of be around the team, be in the stands, do different stuff. And he's got a big baseball academy in Chicago that he set up right before he left.
I hope he enjoys running it. Jason Hayward.
I'm saying come be part of the Cubs family and run your thing and connect those two, so we get to see some good stuff. I don't know. I always liked J.A. outside of the frustrating at bats.
Grounding into double plays for $11 billion to the point where the Cubs will never sign a contract worth more money than that. And before you say Dansby Swanson, in real world today dollars, Dansby Swanson's contract is worth less than Jason Hayward's. Jason Hayward
in raw dollars anyway.
No, I was going to say that's actually Theo's fault, not J.A.'s.
Probably. But Jason Hayward underplaying his contract to the level that he did is the effective salary cap on the Chicago Cubs.
For Jed Hoyer,
for Jed Hoyer. Yes.
For Jed Hoyer. Yeah.
But also,
No,
look, I'm equally mad. I've got Jed
I
Hoyer
agree, but I guess
photo over here. Like I've got two people who just won't spend money on the right things. I get it.
no, I hear what you're saying, and I actually agree that you're probably right. That contract makes them so scared to do it again. But especially when they finally do even come close, it's Dansby, who is literally just Jason Hayward at shortstop.
Another Braves player. What?
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I never disliked the player as much as I disliked the contract or, and what that meant to the Cubs. And I don't hold it against him that Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer are, don't know how to for all the talk about intelligent spending, they absolutely do not understand what those two words mean when they stick together.
No, and you can roll back the tape on the show if you listen. I will always say I never blame the player for not living up to playing expectations. I don't believe that anybody is going up to the bat, going up to bat, playing baseball, whatever. They're not putting on the uniform going, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to suck really bad at what I'm doing today. Man, I'm going to play so bad. Those fans are going to hate me. Snidely whiplash, like twirl
Unless
my
you're Milton
mustache.
Bradley.
Just be awful. No baseball player is going out there trying to be a bad baseball player, right? It is the front office. It's the nerds with the computers and the calculators and the spreadsheets and whatnot who are supposed to pick the people who are actually going to be worth the money that they're spending on them.
Right.
And my frustration with how that contract played out is not an indictment on Jason Hayward as a human being. However, there's a little bit of transference there, emotionally speaking. And when Jason Hayward's last act as a Los Angeles Dodger is to get Scott Servais fired, effectively, like that was the nail in the coffin. Like, yes, did Scott Servais terribly mismanage his team for the last 2 months? Yes, absolutely. Was the last nail in the coffin Jason Hayward hitting a pinch hit 3-run home run, something I have never seen him do in 7 years with the Chicago Cubs? Blah! It was frustrating.
Come back,
how you really
Jay.
feel.
I just want more rants like that out of IFG.
We don't even need bitch clock tonight.
Yeah, we just got it.
We need to go to break, right?
Yeah, we are going to head off to break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about the Marlins. Really? God damn it. Okay. I guess we're going to talk about the Marlins when we come back. I don't really want to, but that is the next team that the Cubs are going to see. So we'll do that. But so let's head out for a couple of, let's see, what are we going to do here?
Yeah.
Ranto stuff. We'll start with that, and then maybe an in the clutch or something. I don't know.
Buy some t-shirts.
Hey, Cubs fans, at Amazon.com do you buy lots of stuff? Why not support the Son Ranto Show by shopping through sonranto.com/. All you gotta do is fill your cart at Amazon with lots of stuff. Then before you check out with all of that wonderful stuff, head on over to sonranto.com/ and click any of our Amazon links before you buy your stuff. Check out like you normally would with all that beautiful stuff. And the Son Ranto Show will get a small kickback because of the stuff you bought. And you'll be helping the Son Ranto Show buy all the stuff we need to stay on the air talking about the Cubs and other stuff. Plus you could win a monthly prize if some of your is chosen for Amazon stuff of the month. And if you win, we'll send you more stuff. Sonranto.com/ that address again is sonranto.com/ stuff.
Looks like I'm the only one that made it back. I'll just vamp here for a minute until Cotton and IFG get back. So the Cubs are heading off to Miami. Going to play the second to worst team in baseball. Not as bad as the White Sox, so I guess they have that going for them.
Are we back?
Yes.
Commercial. It's fine. I went on a beer run.
I started riffing
Sorry.
for a minute, but
We're okay.
all of a sudden I'm doing
man,
Cubs
I
spot by
don't hear
myself.
everybody
This
talking
is-
about t-shirts.
This is why we need Danny. Danny's always in here in time, and IFG and I are like, let's just do a commercial, and then we bail, and we both come back with beers.
See you
I
later.
just barely made it back, and then they're like, "Oh, nobody else is here. Let's go."
What are you drinking there, IFG?
Oh, this one is from Ruben's Brews here in, where is it? It was somewhere in the Seattle area. I don't know. This is a robust porter. I really like this one. It's delicious. I'm a big porter and stouts girl. It's a very normal, like 5.6%, but this is one of my go-tos. I love them.
Nice.
Ruben's Brews. If Ruben's Brews ever comes out with a lavender porter, by the way, that was my idea. Just so you know, I talked with somebody in the, I don't know, one of the people who's kind of higher up in the thing. I happened to run into her at an event, and I would we're just chatting, shooting the breeze. And I was like, somebody comes out with a lavender porter. So she goes, who's making a lavender porter? I was like, I don't know. I just made it up. I like lavender. I like porter. I made it up lavender porter. She goes, I'm gonna go talk to somebody about that. So if by next year we have a lavender porter from Ruben's Brews, just so you know, it was all me.
You're gonna want some royalties off of that. Well,
I just want a free 6-pack. That's all I'm asking.
it is that time of year for the Oktoberfest. This is a Leinenkugel's Oktoberfest. It was on sale at the store today, so I grabbed me a 12-pack.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I'd say it's August, but it's never really too early for Oktoberfest beer. So
So Oktoberfest in Germany is actually the month of September.
Yeah.
true.
So that's why they actually come out in, people, because we're Americans, we don't understand how words work. If they're not our words, then people get really stingy about, it's got to be October. No, it's always
I had
late
a dollar
August,
for all the things we don't understand.
September. Yeah. So, real quick, let me put in a plug here for the Trapdoor Theater. That is the theater that Danny's wife Nicole runs, and Danny works there, does the different sound design for the plays and stuff. They are doing a fundraiser right now, and I'm gonna drop the link in the chat because that's something that we do sometimes, and so that you can see it and give money to Trapdoor Theater so that they can continue working and doing the great stuff that they do. It's a little black box theater. I've been to it a couple of times. It's actually a really cool, you have to walk down. It's called Trapdoor because the door is actually down a very narrow, weird alley that ends in a door. And then you walk in, and then you're in this
Most alleys
cool.
end
No, alleys don't end at doors. Generally,
no.
alleys end at the next street. But you walk down this, and when I say narrow, it's maybe 4 feet across, right?
Oh man.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds like old speakeasy kind of thing.
it really is. Yeah. Oh, somebody could absolutely put a speakeasy in there, and it would make all the sense in the world. But that's where the Trapdoor Theater, is. So, it's really fun to kind of just go down there and hang out, and they sell beers. You watch the shows. It's only 40 people, and it's fun. It's a good time. So, check out the Trapdoor Theater and give them money so that they can continue to pay their bills.
Yeah, and that's trapdoortheater.com/support-us.
Yep. Okay. So the Cubs, after a little bit of meatloaf, we had some Toronto meatloaf, some Detroit meatloaf.
Meatloaf around these parts. Didn't we actually get swept for the first time recently? Since the last time I was on the show, at least. We broke our not getting swept streak. Oh no, we lost Michael. Come back.
I don't know what was going on with Mike Waller over the last like couple of minutes, but he all of a sudden he had this like really big smile on his face, and I was like watching him and I'm like, why is he smiling? I'm like, what's going on? And I think it's because he knew he was about to bail. He's like, fuck these guys, I'm done.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yes, we did get swept. Who did we get swept by? Cleveland.
That's right.
The land got us. It sucked.
It's been really hard to watch the Cubs lately. It's making it hard to like remember exactly what happened.
They're really not that much fun to watch. I mean, today's game being the exception, a 10-run blow up. But
tell me more about what happened.
Well, actually, we're moving on to the Marlins, and we're gonna see if we can make some Marlins meatloaf. Maybe get a Marlins sweep. I don't know.
Fish meatloaf.
Yeah. So we're on the road. The Marlins are in last place. They are the second to worst team in baseball because of the White Sox. If there were no White Sox, the Marlins would be the worst. So I hope that the Cubs can at least get meatloaf and maybe, sweep them. But 3-7 in the last 10 as of yesterday, a minus 172 in run differential, third worst because the White Sox and the Rockies are still teams. Oh, there he is.
He's back.
What happened?
I thought my internet died, so I'm back on my connected to my cell phone now. So.
Oh, see, maybe that's what happened. Maybe you had a smile on your face, and then like your picture froze.
It was like something out of those horror books that I used to read when I was in like second grade. The scary stories to tell in the dark, and you were just like, then you were gone.
That's hilarious. You guys actually spun. I thought you guys were out first, and then all of a sudden I couldn't load the page. So, but I'm back.
Well, it's great to have you back. We're talking a little bit about the Marlins here. They're terrible.
I came back for that.
Meatloaf, which just sounds gross. So I think we should just win all the games so we don't have to do that.
Yeah, as bad as they were, Cubs split the last time because, of course, 4-game series. Again, why? This is not a thing that should exist. Alzolay blew a save, and the Cubs, they had 7 wins in April. The Marlins did. 2 of them came off the Cubs in that 4-game set, which is ridiculous.
That's what they do.
Yep. They are second to last in OPS. They are fourth to last in homers. They are the worst team in walks. They have an average number of strikeouts, same as the Cubs. They steal bases, average. They're second to last in runs scored. So that's really bad. And the Cubs are 10th to last, like 10th fewest. So Cubs, even that's really like as bad as the Cubs have been. 8 more spots. It's nuts. Pitching 4.61 team ERA, 4th worst in the league. Cubs 3.69.
It's pretty nice.
Thank you. Is 3rd best in the league. And the bullpen ERA is 3.94 for the Marlins. That's 14th compared to the Cubs 3.59, which is 7th because they've been very good ever since the first game of the second half of this season, otherwise known as June 27th. That was game 82 of the season. I hate when they just tell you a date and you're like, why is that? It's 80. Yeah. That was the 82nd game.
Yep.
And then they are average with strikeouts and walks per 9. They have the second most innings pitched, the bullpen does, but the 4th fewest homers. And I think part of that is because that ballpark, the Lone Depot? The Lone Depot is not an easy ballpark to hit home runs in. Just never really given up a lot, right? Or am I wrong about that? IFG, you're looking.
No, I think you're right.
You're looking crazy at me, but I feel like
for some reason didn't know that their ballpark was called Lone Depot, and I'm like, what the frick is a Lone Depot?
it's that's where you go when you want to buy a Home Depot. You go to the Lone Depot. No? This is a terrible joke. Thank you all for laughing exactly as much as that required. Their defense, they have 82 errors. Second only to the Red Sox, which was kind of a surprise to me. I really thought it was going to be the White Sox, but no, the Red Sox. Cubs only have 63. The league average right now in errors is 67. Fourth worst, Marlins fourth worst in DER at 682. DER. Cubs are at 703 above the. Are we going to call that the Mendoza line? The 700? I don't know.
What?
LA 698. They're better than.
Average.
There was no DER. There was no DER back in Mendoza's day. The defensive efficiency ratio. The DER. You've been on the show a long time, and this is the first time you asked.
The first time I'm asking, yes, but people keep saying DER. I'm like, what the hell even is that? This is made up. This is what this is. You cannot tell me that is a real thing. That is actually measurable. That is like that. They're just not like picking four things and going, I don't know, we got to add some shit together to make up a new number. Like,
I have been telling you this about every advanced stat for the last year and a half. Like, this is all of a sudden you're like, DER is a thing?
Well, I mean, I was saying for a long time, it's like it's really hard to quantify defense. Like you can only make an error if you attempt a play. So like somebody who's too fucking lazy to even try is never going to have any errors. That doesn't make them a good defender.
Right.
That's the Derek Jeter argument.
Exactly.
Yes. It's the Derek Jeter argument. It's the, and a guy who is quote unquote a great third baseman is not actually so much better than a quote unquote terrible third baseman. We don't even know what those numbers mean. It's -1 to +2. But what does that mean?
Literally, what does it mean?
Exactly. So, and that's it. So yeah, they're not good at defense. They're not good at offense. They're not good at pitching, which makes sense because they're the second worst team in the league, and that is a trap for the Cubs to go down there and just get smoked. So hopefully that will not be the case.
Well, ahead of the game matchups, here comes the real trap. Cubs are going to face a bunch of non-player characters as pitchers.
Sweet. Why don't you start that? I'm going to go shut my door that my dog just opened.
So it looks like game one, we've got Hendricks. Maybe they've kind of been skipping him a bunch lately, but it looks like Hendricks against Max Meyer. Meyer was a first-round pick in 2020, third pick overall. Ground ball pitcher. He's got 46 innings in the bigs. I mean, this is a staff that you're used to seeing. Sandy Alcantara, Jesus Luzardo. They just traded a couple pitchers at the deadline. Usually, when you play the Marlins, you have a good chance to beat them, but you better hold their offense down because you're going to win 3-2 or 4-3. I don't know. Is Max Meyer good? I mean, pedigree says he was a top prospect, but Cubs haven't seen him, so it's going to be a little bit ugly.
Right. Well, and just to be clear, Max Meyer is a question mark. That's who we think is going to be up, but all of these Marlins are Thomas Blueberry Dingle Bopper to be determined. We don't know any of them. So
well, we just got done playing Dylan Dingler. Come on.
You had a lot of fun with the Dingler today.
A little too much.
I realized that like I don't know anything about the Marlins this year, and I didn't know whether that was just because like I have a grown-up job now and I have to pay attention to things that aren't baseball sometimes. They're 46-81. That's wild. First of all, that's just very
every
bad.
good player they have is either injured or traded.
Well, and what's wild is that there is a team like 15 games worse than that.
Well, yes, and they're in the south side of Chicago.
That's insane.
What am I looking for?
I don't know. Mike, are you on game 2 here?
I was about to go to game 2, so if you want to take it, go for it.
Go for it. Game 2, 3:10 Chicago Standard Time. Shota Imanaga, who coming off of that, one home run travesty loss, is going up maybe against Valiente Belloso. Man, that's a Valiente Belloso. And his 2.45 ERA. I have to assume that's an opener situation, probably with the 2.45 ERA. He's only got 33 innings pitched in the major leagues, if it happens to be Valiente Belloso. And then game 3 will be at 12:40 Chicago Standard Time. Assad versus maybe Adam Oller. Oller was with the A's. He's now with the Marlins, and nobody cares.
So somehow he left the A's and downgraded.
Yeah, that's insane, right? Like, you get traded from the A's to a worse team. Nobody saw that coming. All right. But yeah, so those are the next 3 games. I'm going to say I think the Cubs sweep it. I do.
Yeah, Valiente Belloso. I'm looking him up now. Valiente Belloso. He plays Winter League, and he's on the Águilas de Mexicali. He has last off season, so the 2023-2024 Winter League season, he played in 21 games. He's got, let's see, 2 complete games. Where is it? Numbers, stuff, things. No, it's bad. It's bad. It's not great. Like, the numbers, they are not good. He's got like a 4.5 ERA in the Winter League. He's got 3 wins, 3 losses. What does that mean? Out of 21 games. But he was a reliever in all of those. Closed 6 of them, and 3 decisions in his favor, 3 against. But this is in I don't know.
Yeah, I'll bet we're going to see opener situations going on.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with the sweep. I mean, they should sweep. They're going to have to sweep, and they have used
They
all their
don't. That
margin
would
for error.
be embarrassing.
Right. But the Cubs have used all their margin for error for the rest of the season. Like, it's all gone.
Right.
And this may be one of the last live Sun Ranto shows we get to talk about them being sort of in the race. They've got 34 games left. They're going to have to go. I mean, 24 wins out of the 34 games. 24-10 would get them to 87 wins. And they're going to have to be 86, 87 wins to potentially have a shot at the playoffs. So, like, they've got to go. They've still got games left against the Yankees, Dodgers, and Phillies. So they got to win.
Yeah, I've given up on the whole postseason tournament. I'm done with it. The only thing I care about at this point is beating the Cardinals. Like, the Cubs could finish this season in second place. Insanely in second place. They are a half game behind the Cardinals right now because yesterday they lost, the Cardinals won, and then today they both won. So the Cardinals are up by a half a game in the division in second place, which is insane that these teams could be battling like this. But my season now is all about watching the Cubs and the Cardinals wins and losses to see who comes out on top, because I just want the Cubs to beat the Cardinals in this, overall record, because they've already lost it like head to head. So let's just win it overall. I don't know.
Cardinals have a brutal schedule left too, so it could absolutely happen.
Well, and they've been sucking as we've expected, for a long time. It's been amazing to me that they were even this close, but then again, the entire freaking division is this close right now, and this close means 10 games behind the Brewers, who are not like running away with things, but in this division, that's all it takes. Like, yeah. So, all right. So Cubstradamus sent in a stinky rolled up like ice. This is like a paper. It's like a paper bag. It's like a paper bag that he pulled out of the garbage and then glued bits of the newspaper like a freaking like a serial killer murder. It's disgusting. But he does have a prediction for the thing. The season has really been shit, but we're just about finished with it. Both the teams are so lowly in the land of pierogies as the Cubs play a series in Pitt. Okay. For the first time ever,
That's a hell of a prediction. The Cubs are going to play the
I
Pirates.
believe Cubstradamus predicted, I don't know, are the Cubs playing Pittsburgh next after the Marlins?
They are, yeah.
So for the first time ever, he's actually predicted something further out than tomorrow. That's amazing. Wow. I'm going to keep this dirty, greasy paper bag serial killer thing as evidence. Evidence against anything that he might do in the future, because I don't want to keep it because he was actually doing something interesting this time. It's just because I'm afraid that somebody will need his DNA somehow.
I think you should take it to Judd Hoyer's doorstep and set it on fire.
Oh God, I wish we should. Did I say this in Cub Spot today? Maybe I did. I wanted somebody to take a goat to Wrigley today with a sign around its neck that says Jed Hoyer. That's what I wanted. So, because unfortunately we did have to hear about the goat a little bit this week, because 1945 was Tigers versus Cubs in that World Series that kicked off the goat curse in the first place.
Yep.
So, all right. What else we got going on here? We're going to do the Cubsler, but we are not drawing a prize. Here's the thing. Cubsler 26, I believe, IFG believes it's fairly easy. And
Totally doable.
only 2 people sent in answers of any type, right?
Well, Mr. Fourth Row's here in the comments. He's like, I just realized I forgot to send in my Cubsler.
Yeah.
Mr. Fourth Row, send it in now, because we're just going to go ahead and
I actually
redo
went looking
it.
for it
I'll
this
give
morning.
another chance.
Didn't see it
So
on the
we're gonna-
Discord. And I was
We're going to put this out there. Oh, maybe I didn't put it on the Discord. Yeah, it might be my fault. But okay, so we're going to run this one again. You have until next week, and then we will pick a prize. And for Chris Salato and Clint Nathan, because you guys actually had your answers in early, I'll put 2 spots for each of you on the next spinner. So you'll have twice the chance to win as the other people. But here it is. Catcher exposed to MLB in 98. Aptly earned a single Silver Slugger. His biggest hit came in 06, a Red Line Rumble to remember. And after the show, I'm going to post that over at the Discord, and I'm going to put it out on Twitter as well. And I'll do it now so that I don't forget. But there's that. September 20th, we are getting seats at Wrigley, or we're trying to get people to just get we're not sitting in the bleachers. We're trying to get group tickets because Dan Nielsen's family, the grandparents, the parents are a little bit older, and bleachers are not a great place for people who have struggles with that. And I know Bill Sugas last year came to Dan Nielsen's, and he kind of struggled with getting into the seat too. So it'll be good for him too. But even though I don't think he can come this year, whatever. But there's a Facebook page out there. Go out there, get that so you can sign up. Let us know that you're coming. And then a TFC. Does anybody? I have one. Either one of you guys have a TFC?
I don't.
Okay. Well, then
I do have one thing. Yeah.
You have one? Okay.
Just-
Well, I'll read mine, and then we'll let you go with yours.
Sure.
So this goes back to that attendance. And here we go. Teaching your youth, Cubs fan on Reddit says, 7th in attendance while being 19th in record. Tom Ricketts is at full mast today. So, yep. That's
Sorry. Just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a nice thought, but that is the kind of thing that would get him excited. I can imagine.
In completely different news, Johnny Bench has a Twitter, if you didn't know.
Ooh.
And he had something to say today. Johnny Bench, that's at Johnny Bench _5.
Look at that cowboy hat. Come on,
Look at that
Johnny.
cowboy hat. He says, I was called down to see some prospects and the Reds might draft. I don't know. Oh, I was called down to see some prospects the Reds might draft. There was this kid from Canada taking batting practice who was born to hit. I said, if it were me, I'd be taking him first. Congrats on a tremendous career, Joey Votto. Passionate about the game, totally committed to hitting.
Oh, that's Johnny Bench just being nice.
Johnny Bench being nice about Joey Votto. I'll miss you, John. I'll miss you, Joey Votto.
Yeah, Jed
Joey
Hoyer saw that tweet and he's like, "You don't know what you're talking about, Johnny. The numbers didn't back that up." All right. So I think we're about ready to finish this thing off. Yeah. Thanks to the Bleacher Bunch Productions on the Fans First Network, our 109 Patreon supporters, Blake Beard's Tickets, Rogue Wave Creative, and Mike Waller and the Cubs PS Plus podcast, Matt Kammer Permanent Paintings, and In the Clutch shirts. You can find us on any podcast app, and if that podcast app has some sort of way to rate us, please give us a 5-star rating. And also, tell your friends that this thing exists. We would love to have more people in this Ranters community that we have built up, because the more people we have, the more, arms we can lean on when we come across some of the rough stuff that we deal with in life, which unfortunately, Danny, seriously, so it seems so weird that he's not here. 12 years.
Yep.
12 seasons, and this is the first time he won't be on one. And that in itself makes me sad, but also the fact that he's dealing with his mother's end of life care right now is really hard too. And I don't know. We went over 2 hours for you, Danny. We made it.
We did it. Thank you, Ranters, for listening. Tell your people that you love them. Light a candle for Marilyn, and we'll see you next week. Yeah.
So I have a song here that I put together for tonight's show. It is Danny's song, "Beer in the Sunshine," and he doesn't have a lot of sad songs really, but this one he created during the pandemic and wishing for his community to be back together, and the idea of just missing someone and wanting to be back at Wrigley with them, because honestly, Mike, I got to hang out with you this week. IFG came out for Ranter Fest. The fact that we get to do this, we get to sit in the bleachers together and share beers and share good times, is what it's all about in the best of times. And then, when we're having these rough times like Danny's having right now, it's good to kind of remember that. So we're going to ride out on this one. All right. Spagog.
Spagog, everybody.
Winter kept on roaring, spring never arrived. The earth was busy healing, 1,000,000 people died. Seems like another era, a long forgotten time, when we all were out at Wrigley drinking beer in the sunshine. Watching the boys of summer send baseballs for a ride. A deep Chicago sunset, an orange and purple sky. I'm dreaming of those days, 'cause I remember you and I. Just loving being at Wrigley, drinking beer in the sunshine. I know that we'll come back if we can survive. The field will look so beautiful through wet and weary eyes. Sitting in the bleachers, my baby by my side, when we all are back at Wrigley, drinking beer in the sunshine. When we all are back at Wrigley, drinking beer in the sunshine. When we